speak freely. What's your take on all of this?
Well, my first take about it is that Floyd knows better than that. He knows that I say what I mean and I mean what I say. And if anybody's backtracking, some would say that he's backtracked. Even if I did backtrack, which I don't believe.
Floyd Mayweather Jr. and his local strip club for allegedly failing to pay exotic dancers minimum wage and illegally withholding their tips.
What if the man with the most money in boxing isn't actually broke, but just tired of explaining himself? What if the loudest sports commentator got it wrong this time? Floyd Mayweather has never been one to whisper. When he speaks, it's with bravado, surrounded by diamonds, jets, and watches that cost more than your neighborhood. But now, after years of flaunting his fortune, Mayweather finds himself in a situation that even he can't buy his way out of. He's in a war of words with none other than Stephen A. Smith, a man known for opinions louder than a jet engine and reactions bigger than a heavyweight knockout. And the subject? Bankruptcy.
Record, of course it does. Look, Conor McGregor's making his professional boxing debut. Floyd Patterson, the heavyweight champion of the world after Marciano, fought a title defense against the guy making his pro.
Yes, you heard that right. The undefeated, untouchable Money Mayweather is under scrutiny for allegedly falling into a $42 million financial scandal. It's the kind of number that should rattle anyone, but not Floyd. Not the guy who claims he wears an $18 million watch just to flex on haters. So when rumors began to swirl, whispers turning into roars, Floyd did what Floyd does best. Turned the volume up.
Player to ever live, I can't say that. Absolutely not, I can't say that.
But you can't say that he would beat LeBron one-on-one? Who's asking you to say that even if you can't admit
that? He's not strong enough. He's not strong, he's not bigger, he's not strong enough.
Floyd Mayweather told me that it ain't just about the skill set, it's also about being the smartest. You remember this years ago, I asked you the question.
He didn't just clap back. He clapped so hard the echo is still bouncing off Stephen A.'s forehead. Mayweather kicked things off with a now viral video, showing off what looked like the set of a Hollywood blockbuster, only it was just his driveway. There were watches for every hour, vehicles for every mood, and probably a garage more expensive than most sports franchises. He reminded everyone that he doesn't borrow lifestyles, he invented them. Stephen A. Smith, the seasoned sports talking head, wasn't buying it. Smith, with the signature tie, the exaggerated size, and the forever furrowed brow, had questions. He didn't just call out Mayweather's exhibitions, he questioned the very essence of Floyd's ongoing money moves. Why keep fighting? Why keep touring the globe in one exhibition after another if your bank account is as bottomless as you say?
To me, I always believe I'm the best, but sometimes I wasn't at my best. But the will that I got inside me, nobody is eclipsing that.
Do you know why I'm where I'm at for real in my career?
Okay.
No one can ever brainwash me to make me believe that Sugar Ray Robinson and Muhammad Ali was better than him.
Stephen A. Smith sees himself as a watchdog of the sporting world, but Floyd? He's not a dog, he's the zoo. And he lets Smith know that real money doesn't shout, it just spends. Mayweather didn't waste time playing victim. He pulled receipts. Not the metaphorical kind, the literal ones. He broke down his lifestyle like it was a college lecture in economics for the ultra-rich. When he takes a 30-day vacation, he brings 30 watches. Not because he needs to, but because he can. If he feels extra spicy, he throws in his $18 million timepiece just to make a statement.
Today, to report to you that I'm incredibly disappointed in one of my all-time favorite fighters, my brother, Floyd.
A broke man doesn't casually drop $50,000 on a whim. A broke man doesn't fly across cities with a different luxury car waiting at each terminal. But maybe, just maybe, this isn't about money. Maybe it's about the image of money. And that's where Stephen A.'s hammer hits the hardest. Smith's view was simple. Mayweather changed the game. No argument there. He broke away from promoters, bought his freedom, and turned himself into a brand. He boxed smarter than most, picking his moments and stacking his chips. But when your brand is all about flash, it only takes a little flicker to cast doubt. Smith called into question the endless parade of exhibition matches. He argued that it makes Mayweather look desperate, not elite. And desperate doesn't look good on a man who once stood as the pinnacle of calculated confidence.
The guys that paved the way for me to be where I'm at. But for me to give a sport my whole life, to say that there's another fighter better than, absolutely not.
But Floyd wasn't rattled. He reminded the world that exhibitions aren't comebacks, they're calculated appearances. He's not boxing to prove anything. He's doing it because it prints money. And while critics scream washed up, Mayweather is busy washing his face with $100 bills. The idea that Mayweather's finances are in shambles was given wings by not just commentators, but by fighters, rappers, and YouTubers with microphones and grievances. Take 50 Cent, for example, a longtime friend turned frenemy. He claimed Mayweather cheated him out of millions during a business deal gone sour while Floyd was in jail. According to him, Floyd emerged from prison, rejoined the party, and acted like the handshake never happened. Now, say what you will about 50 Cent, but he's no choir boy. Still, his claims struck a nerve with the public. Suddenly, Mayweather wasn't the golden goose. He was a golden question mark. And then came Logan Paul.
Now, Floyd Mayweather had an exhibition boxing match. And in this boxing match, Floyd Money Mayweather decides, who's he fighting? What's the name of that guy? John Gotti III. Ladies and gentlemen, chaos broke out.
The YouTuber turned boxer, known more for stirring drama than landing punches, fired his own shots. Paul said he hadn't been paid after their fight. Not just unpaid, a ghosted level of unpaid. According to him, Floyd was stringing him along like a rookie being hazed by a varsity team. And when Logan didn't play along, he took to social media to expose what he painted as financial funny business. Mayweather answered, sort of. On a podcast appearance, he shrugged it off. He said money takes time. Pay-per-view numbers delay payments. Big checks need patience. Logan shouldn't complain. He got the biggest payday of his life, even if he had to wait for it. For Floyd, everything was business as usual, but critics didn't see it that way. Former MMA fighter Chael Sonnen added fuel to the fire. He threw doubt on Mayweather's reported income. He insisted that Floyd never actually made $100 million in a single fight and claimed the figures were bloated. Sonnen's opinion? Floyd needed the recent exhibitions because he burned through the real cash a long time ago.
You've never thought about the possibility of losing? You never fathom in your mind that there's...
That's where this drama gets juicy. If Mayweather truly earned over $800 million, where did it all go? He says it's tied up in smart investments and slow-moving revenue streams. Others say it's tied up in overpriced cars, nightclubs, and questionable entourages. Mayweather's stance is this: he's building generational wealth. He doesn't hand out money to his kids anymore. Instead, he's teaching them to build businesses and carry on the legacy. He wants them to double and triple what he's built. To critics, it sounds like backpedaling. To Floyd, it sounds like a billionaire's blueprint. Still, the criticism keeps coming. They say he's addicted to the image, that he needs to flash his wealth like a security blanket. They say his legacy is being overshadowed by a need to always remind people that he's rich. They ask why someone with real money needs to rent attention. Why is he always talking about what he owns? Why does he keep fighting nobodies on foreign soil, collecting checks in crypto and confusion?
All likelihood, it would be in the boxing ring. It wouldn't be in UFC. That's not something that he would do. That's not something that the people close to him, particularly his loved ones and his business managers and others, would allow him to do. Floyd talks about this. He's been on the record talking about how the UFC wants him to do certain things. Floyd doesn't mind saying things like that because he doesn't mind reminding folks of how
They say the more he talks, the more he reveals. The more he flexes, the more fragile it all appears. But Floyd Mayweather doesn't blink. He never has. He says he's still collecting checks from fights 10 years ago. He says he's his own boss, and that people are mad because the table has turned. The fighter became the mogul, the boxer became the banker, the student became the professor. And now people don't know how to handle it. Stephen A. Smith continues to raise questions, but Mayweather answers with silence, or better yet, noise of a different kind. The roar of an engine. The flicker of another $1 million watch, the glint of a diamond in a ring that once punched history into shape. This isn't a boxing match, it's a spectacle, a dance between ego and envy, a shadow match between a media titan and a sports legend. One talks for a living, the other lives to silence the talk. Stephen A. Smith represents the voice of the everyman, the fan, the critic, the skeptic, the man on the couch asking, where did all that money go?
And you've treated every fighter the same.
Yep.
What did you think about Pacquiao saying that he was more concerned about Oscar De La Hoya, Miguel Cotto, and Antonio Margarito?
Floyd Mayweather represents the myth, the mystery, the monument to hustle, the man who figured out how to make the system pay him. Yet despite the thunderstorm of speculation, Floyd Mayweather continues to stand tall in his designer shoes, unbothered and unapologetic. If critics expected him to cower under the weight of rumors, they clearly underestimated the man who made defensive boxing an art form. Mayweather's verbal jabs, much like his in-ring style, are quick, strategic, and always aimed at silencing the noise. To him, it's not about defending wealth, it's about defending legacy. And legacy, unlike a bank balance, isn't something that disappears in a spreadsheet error. His message is simple but loud. He doesn't owe anyone an explanation. In a world where everyone wants to peek into another man's pockets, Floyd's response is to blind them with a watch worth more than their mortgage. It's not just defiance, it's a performance. And Floyd Mayweather doesn't just play a role. He creates the stage, writes the script, and makes sure his name is the headliner.
And dispersed. Dancers also had to pay house fees to perform, usually between $100 and $200 per shift. One of the women also alleges Mayweather slapped her in the face when she asked for payment from an earlier.
So, when Stephen A. Smith comments on Floyd's financial controversies, Mayweather doesn't lose sleep. In fact, he doubles down. This is a man who walks into criticism with a diamond-studded strut, not a defensive stance. His response isn't desperate. It's theatrical, brash, and, in typical Mayweather fashion, dripping in excess. Even as doubters continue to dig through every rumor and unpaid debt accusation, Floyd continues to do what he does best: make headlines and remind the world that he's still the main event. Money Mayweather isn't just a nickname, it's a brand. One built not on the fragile ground of public opinion, but on the solid granite of spectacle, confidence, and self-mastery.
They were misclassified as independent contractors when they worked as dancers at Girl Collection. That's a club near Sahara and Sammy Davis Jr. Drive. The dancers allegedly could only make money through tips that Girl Collection and Mayweather collected.
Mayweather's saga is far from over. He doesn't fight for titles anymore. He fights to stay in the spotlight, to remind people that even in controversy, he wins.
Mayweather, without question. Number one, he's more hated than Conor McGregor. Number two, he's unblemished. Conor McGregor, we've already seen him lose to Nate Diaz, okay? So we saw that. There's no novelty in that. Number three, and more importantly, you got to remember something here. And it's amazing how people react. I don't sit up there and bring up race always as a negative. Sometimes, most times, I'm just highlighting.
Because when you're Money Mayweather, the only bankruptcy you fear is the kind that steals attention. Subscribe for more high-stakes drama like this video if you think Floyd still has it, and drop a comment below. Team Mayweather or Team Stephen A? Let's hear it.